Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So this is going to be a look at the reaction to Amazon's casting of diverse elves and dwarves with characters that never existed in the books. And I previously said in my stream where I covered the teaser release live on my channel, you can check out my reactions to that on my previous videos and what I've said about these characters. Well, what I said previously in that stream was people are so shallow that all they see is race, when these characters are race swapped or race created for characters that never even existed. In Tolkien's own lore, nowhere does it say that characters like these two exist anywhere. But let's go ahead and take a look at the reaction to the casting of diverse elves and dwarves in the new Lord of the Rings series by Amazon. So here it is. I said this is what they say. People who only see skin color for diversity, they always say, I feel myself represented now because I don't see the layers and depths in characters about their backstories, where they've come from, how they carry themselves, who they interact with and how they interact with them, how they were written in the story that was, in this case, written so long ago. This is what this person says. Hell yeah, hell F yeah. A black elf and black dwarven princess in the new Lord of the Rings, The Ring of Power show is giving me so much life and I'm crying happy tears. I feel so effing finally seen. As if you've never felt seen before. Because you're black. Does your whole life and your existence and your identity hinge on if a black elf or dwarf is created for the sake of diversity? Is that what your whole existence is based on? Well, you're a very shallow person. I gotta say, you're a very shallow person. Like, you were never seen when Black Panther came out? You didn't feel anything when Black Panther came out? No? It takes Amazon to create characters that never existed in the books to make people feel effing seen and represented. Now, these two, there's another issue. She does not have a beard, and dwarves in Lord of the Rings lore, or Tolkien lore, are supposed to have beards. Arondir, this guy's character, I've shown there's a bunch of issues with him, not just his skin color and his faded haircut, but also his relationship with another person in the show, which goes against Tolkien's lore. Because, just quickly, there were 3 unions between elves and men, and he's an elf and she's of the race of man. So this is a wholly fabricated relationship between elves and men, which goes against the lore. So it's not just his haircut or his relationship, but also his race there are issues with this character. And then this one, dwarves are not described as having her skin color, pigmentation, whatsoever, and she doesn't have a beard. I don't know if this person's ever actually seen Lord of the Rings, or they might have, but they clearly do not care about the work that it's based on. If he's only seen the movies, he doesn't care, or they don't care about the work it's based on, like the books, because if they did, then they would care about sticking to the lore, and this is not in the lore. And now you look at the responses. The representation, looking like a soy person, yep, pronouns. Staying away from the comments because people aren't going to steal my joy over this. Yeah, good for you. Now, let's take a look at this. Dude, I'm not black or white, but this destroys the immersion and the lore. Okay, these people have no idea what they're talking about, clearly, because they say, how does the melanin content of a fantasy race's skin destroy your immersion any more than said fantasy race? You clearly don't know what this story is based on, and these characters are based on, because they're not, well, they're technically not based on anything, because Amazon's taken absolute liberties to create these new characters out of thin air to put representation in the story. Now let's look at this response to that person. Would having a bunch of white people in Wakanda wreck the immersion of that setting? Exactly. So was this person who initially commented, did he feel represented when Black Panther came out? I wonder. But do we now have to go around and say, hey, Black Panther needs to add representation and you need to have white, Asian, trans furries in Wakanda because we need representation? This is what it's all about. They say we need representation in that space. So even though the work they're asking for representation isn't based on anything like this, these two, none of this is in the books. They say we need representation. Okay, we changed the whole aesthetic of the backstory and the lore to create these characters. And then they say it's not good enough, we need something else. And then they take over that space. And then people who originally know and love these books and this story are like, hey, this is not what it's supposed to be. It's happened with Star Wars already. It's happening with DC, Marvel, it's happened. And now it's happening with Tolkien and Lord of the Rings. They are taking Tolkien stories to push an agenda. As you can see, these characters never existed. And now the people who they have cheering it are people who just want these people on screen for representation when it has nothing to do with the text, that it was based on. And the people in the replies have no idea either because they think it's just a generic fantasy story. Why? Because the trailer, the teaser that we saw, was basically a generic fantasy scene. There was nothing really in there that was Lord of the Rings. Elrond doesn't look like Elrond. Galadriel's young as hell. Like, she's already, like, however 1,000 years old when she gets to that point in her time in the story. So she's not a 20-year-old kid running around. And you got so much other stuff. Just check my other videos with the amount of inaccuracies in that trailer and in these stories that are coming out with this new show. But there you go. People who, I don't know, maybe have no idea or just do not care about the lore of the rings are cheering now because they finally are effing seen and represented on screen, even though none of this existed in the books. But it's not okay to do it the other way around, I bet. I bet it's not okay to do, hey, we need to insert white representation into Wakanda and Black Panther. Why? Just because I want to feel represented in that space. This is ridiculous, and they're shallow people that do not care about the story and the lore. We already know it's ruining Tolkien's work after we saw the teaser, and honestly, I am really not looking forward to this new show. I might just catch an episode or two to be like, that's ridiculous, but I'm really not looking forward to it because we know it's going to be destroyed. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share this video out there, and I'll see you in the next one.